Morning friends, students. To continue with our discussion in structure of proteins. Yesterday I had told you that how structure of proteins is determined or is understood on four different levels. Primary structure, that refers to the specific sequence of alpha amino acids in a given polypeptide chain. Then secondary structure, the configuration that a polypeptide chain attains as a result of intermolecular or intramolecular hydrogen bond. Then tertiary structure, which is aggregate of first two structures, that is primary structure and secondary structure, that gives rise to a specific shape of protein, which is either globular, that is has got a spherical shape, or fibrous, that is has got a thread like shape. And finally, quaternary structure of protein. There are certain proteins which are made up of two subunits. Now this quaternary structure of protein refers to the relative orientation of these two subunits in three-dimensional space. Today we will discuss the meaning of term denaturation of protein. Denaturation of protein. Now each protein has got a specific structure and a specific role, a specific biological role. As I told you that many of the proteins are involved in the building of life forms. These muscles, these hairs, these nails, they all are proteins. Not only this, many enzymes, many hormones, they are also chemically proteins. So each protein in biological system has got a specific structure and a specific biological role to play. And this specific structure and function of a protein is only valid under a definite set of pH and temperature. So every protein is only is stable under a specific pH and a specific temperature, and in this, under the range of this pH and temperature, protein has got a specific structure and a specific role to play. And in this form, protein is called as native protein. So term native protein means stable form of protein under a specific pH and temperature. Now, when pH or temperature of system is changed, then primary, secondary and tertiary structures of a protein is destroyed and its biological activity is also lost. This is known as denaturation of protein. For example, preparation of cheese. How many of you have seen that? How many of you know how cheese is prepared? Milk is taken and some lemons are added to it. So that lemon juice, which is acid, decreases the pH of milk, and milk protein, casein, which is present in the milk, its secondary and tertiary structures are destroyed and it is precipitated, and we say that cheese is formed. In the similar way, when egg is boiled, under the influence of high temperature, this protein is denaturated which is present in the egg, and egg becomes hard. So denaturation of protein refers to change in, or rather not change, denaturation of protein refers to destruction of secondary and tertiary structures of a protein and loss of its biological activity under the influence of change in pH or change in temperature. So denaturation is a simple process in which temperature and pH of the surroundings is changed, and as a result of which protein, secondary and tertiary structure of protein is destroyed and its biological activity is also lost. Now in certain cases it is also observed that when these optimum conditions of pH and optimum conditions of temperature are restored, then these secondary and tertiary structures they are again formed, and protein also regains its biological activity. This process is called renaturation. This process is called renaturation. So renaturation is reverse to that of denaturation. Now we come to the another important biomolecule which is called nucleic acid. Nucleic acids are basis of life. This is genetic material which is present in a cell and is responsible for transferring genetic information from parents to offsprings, and the process is same from the simplest unicellular organisms to most complex and evoluted human beings. So nucleic acids are the genetic material which is found inside the cell, and they regulates the entire functioning of a cell. Since they are found in nucleus, so they are named as nucleic acids. Now chemically, here we are not discussing the biological significance of nucleic acid. Our concern is largely with the discussion of structure of these nucleic acids, chemical aspects of these nucleic acids. So chemically, nucleic acids are biopolymers of nucleotides. They are chemically polynucleotides. And this polynucleotide is formed by the polymerization of a nucleotide, and these nucleotides they are joined together with the help of a bond which is called as phosphodiester bond or phosphodiester linkage. So chemically nucleic acids are polynucleotides in which monomeric units are nucleotides, and these nucleotides are joined together with the help of phosphodiester linkage or phosphodiester bonds. Now when a nucleic acid is subjected to hydrolysis, When hydrolysis is complete, three different substances are formed. So these three substances are the basic constitutional material for the preparation of nucleic acids. So when nucleic acids are hydrolyzed, first it gives phosphoric acid, then it gives sugars, and it gives nitrogenous bases. Then these sugars, they are of two types: ribose sugar and deoxyribose sugar. And on the basis of the type of sugar which is present, this nucleic acid could be ribose nucleic acid or RNA, or it could be deoxyribose nucleic acid or DNA. And these nitrogenous bases, they are also of two types. One is called purine and other is called pyrimidine. Now the points is to be considered that these purine and pyrimidine are not the name of any particular base, rather they represent a particular class of compound. They are the heterocyclic compounds containing nitrogen as a heteroatom in their ring, like alcohol. So alcohol does not represent a particular compound, rather it represents a class of compound. Like carboxylic acid, that doesn't represent one particular compound, rather they represent a class of compounds in which that COOH is present as a functional group. In the similar way, purines and pyrimidines also not represent any particular compound, rather they represent a class of compound. Now purines are adenine and guanine, and pyrimidines are thymine, cytosine and uracil. And out of these three pyrimidines that are present, thymine is only found in DNA and uracil is only found in RNA. So these are the things which combines with each other to form nucleic acid. So nucleic acids are the genetic material present in the cell, and chemically they are polynucleotides in which nucleotide units are joined with each other with the help of a phosphodiester link. When they are subjected to hydrolysis, they gives three things: phosphoric acid, pentose sugar and nitrogenous base. These pentose sugars may be of two types. It could be a ribose sugar and it could be a deoxyribose sugar. And on the basis of type of sugar which is present, nucleic acid is also classified into two types: ribose nucleic acid or RNA, or deoxyribose nucleic acid or DNA. Then nitrogenous bases, there are two types of nitrogenous bases: purines and pyrimidines. And as I told you that these purine and pyrimidine does not represent a specific class of compound, rather these purines and pyrimidines does not represent a particular compound, rather they represent a specific class of compounds. And this adenine and guanine is example of two purine, and thymine, cytosine and uracil are the two pyrimidines which is present. Now we will learn that how these components they combines with each other to form nucleic acid. This pentose sugar and plus base they combines to form a nucleoside. Now this nucleoside combines with phosphoric acid to form nucleoside phosphate or nucleotide. This nucleotide further combines with another nucleotide to form dinucleotide, and then further these dinucleotides combine with another nucleotide to form trinucleotide, and finally a polynucleotide or nucleic acid is formed. So that is how the constituents of a nucleic acid they combines with each other to form nucleic acid. Pentose sugar, whether it is ribose or it is deoxyribose, this combines with base to form nucleoside. Now this nucleoside combines with phosphoric acid to form nucleotide, and these nucleotides they joins with each other with the help of phosphodiester linkage to form dinucleotide, then trinucleotide, and finally a polynucleotide chain or nucleic acid is produced, formed. Now let us try to understand the same thing with the help of structures. Say for example, this is the pentose sugar. So here I had represented, we had not taken actual structures, they are only symbolic representation. This is the pentose sugar, and for example this is the base. So first this OH and H they are removed in the form of water, and this this base joins at the C1 carbon of pentose sugar. So this forms a nucleoside. This is a nucleoside where this is sugar part and this is base. Now this phosphoric acid combines at this fifth carbon of nucleoside and forms nucleoside phosphate or nucleotide. This is nucleotide. This is phosphate residue. This is sugar. And this is nitrogenous base. So I am quite sure that up to this you are able to understand. On hydrolysis of a nucleic acid, these three things are formed: a pentose sugar, a base, and phosphoric acid. Now for the constitution of this nucleic acid, first this pentose sugar, it combines with base at its C1 carbon to form nucleoside. A nucleoside contains a pentose sugar, it could be ribose sugar, it could be deoxyribose sugar, and a base. Now this nucleoside reacts with phosphoric acid at C5 carbon, fifth carbon, and a nucleoside phosphate or nucleotide is formed, where this is phosphate residue, this is sugar, and this is base. So that is how a nucleotide is produced. Now two nucleotides, they join with each other at C5 and C3 carbon atoms. This is first, second, and this is third carbon atom. So the third carbon atom of one nucleotide joins with this phosphate residue and a dinucleotide is formed. So this is one nucleotide, then this combines with so this is 1, 2 and third carbon, and this is fifth carbon of next nucleotide. And this bond which joins these two nucleotide units is called a phosphodiester linkage or phosphodiester bond. And in the similar way, these nucleotides, they keep on attaching with each other and a polynucleotide chain or nucleic acid is formed. So in a simplified way, if you want to understand the basic structure of nucleic acid, you say that sugar, then phosphate, then sugar, then phosphate, then sugar, then phosphate, and while each sugar is also attached with the base, or you can represent in a different way that this is base B1 which is attached to a sugar, this is another sugar and base moiety, and these two are joined together with the help of phosphodiester bond. Then again phosphodiester bond joins with base, then again phosphodiester bonds and base. So a nucleic acid contains actually a sugar phosphate backbone where different bases are attached to the sugar. That is how a nucleic acid is formed. So I am quite sure that with this discussion you are able to understand the meaning of nucleoside, a compound that is formed by the combination of a pentose sugar and base. Then meaning of term nucleotide, which is actually nucleoside phosphate, means nucleoside combines with phosphoric acid to form nucleoside phosphate or a nucleotide, and each nucleotide contains a phosphate group, a pentose sugar and a nitrogenous base. Now two nucleotides are joined together with the help of a phosphodiester bond. Then these nucleotides they join with each other forming a long chain which is called as nucleic acid. Now this basic structure remains same in both type of nucleic acids, DNA and RNA. But there is a major difference. In deoxyribose nucleic acid or DNA has got a double helical structure. There are two such polynucleotide chains joined with each other, while RNA is single stranded. There is only one polynucleotide chain. How these chains or how these strands are joined with each other, this we will discuss in our next chapter. So I am quite sure that you are able to understand the meaning of term denaturation of protein, loss of secondary and tertiary structures of a protein on the change of pH or temperature is called denaturation of protein, and as a result of denaturation protein also loses its biological significance. Then you are able to understand the meaning of nucleoside, nucleotide and phosphodiester linkage. We will continue the discussion in our next lecture. Thank you. Stay safe. Stay home.